day, Nigerians, and you're welcome, our wonderful viewers. Thank God you're there watching your favorite television, the Living TV. Back again today on your favorite program, Issues of the Moment. In today's Issues of the Moment, we'll be looking at the obedient reaction to Wole Soyinka's advice. As usual in the studio with me, from my far left, I have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Last week doubled as also a tele-evangelist. He is a historian. He is also a political affairs analyst. And also, like you had today, he is a tele-evangelist. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good day, Mr. Moderator. Good day, our listener out there.
After him, you have these your popular and regular affairs. Barrister Chukwuemeka Wole. Barrister Chukwuemeka Wole is a practicing lawyer. He is also a security consultant. And also, above all, he is a human affairs analyst. Barrister, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, moderator. Good day, viewers. And I'm happy to hear that my friend and brother Nnamdi is an evangelist. That's a very nice one.
Evangelist. A tele-evangelist.
Yes, evangelism could be done anywhere. Maybe you only use the television as a vehicle, a medium to reach out to people. Yeah. That's a nice one. Kudos.
All right, it's no more a hidden story that the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka's interview with Arise News on Wednesday, that he's not sitting well with the supporters of Labour Party, who are frowning at Wole Soyinka's statement. Professor Soyinka has shared his views on the statement made by the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, that is Dati Baba Ahmed, concerning the swearing-in of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the interview, Professor Soyinka condemned the Labour Party vice presidential candidate for making statement that he deemed menacing. Soyinka said that Dati used a fascistic language which could incite national discord. That's where I want us to start from today, to incite a national discord, and then one will ask, is this country, is this nation, Nigeria, in unity even before now or after now? All right, I want to start with you, Comrade Nnamdi. You heard about the statement. And then while we are looking at this statement, I want us also to put into consideration, how can you be the child and ask that child not to cry?
Oh, okay, thank you so much. It's not even about beating the child this time and not even wanting the child to cry. It's about coinage and the way we deploy words, especially philosophies, concepts, and practices. And while I may say I'm not worthy to maybe untie Wole Soyinka's literary shoelace or shoestrings, that does not mean that as a historian I can't interrogate what he deploys in the political palace where I should be familiar. The talk of fascism to me was actually wide of the mark, and I will explain why. You see, before I even talk about fascism, let me also make it clear that I do not support in its entirety the statement by Ahmed that saying that the Chief Justice of the Nation must not swear in Bola Ahmed Tinubu. For now, Tinubu has been declared as winner by INEC, and according to our constitution, he is to be sworn in unless the court we are fast enough, you understand, to pronounce a judgment that stops him from being sworn in, understand. But for now, that is where we are. It does appear like a fait accompli, but INEC has actually put us in that difficult place through their irregularities, through their incompetence, and then their deliberate act. It's my opinion. But if you look at the concept of fascism, so you can employ it here, it is even removed, it is even far from what the obedient movement is all about. Fascism simply means a totalitarian control of state structure, a command, a control of the instrument of power, even the media, every aspect, and then rejecting all forms of opposition, and then suppression, you understand, of other views. Then glorification of war and repudiation of peace. That is what fascism does. So I do not see these things appropriately situated within the context of what obedience is all about. Obedient movement is just a peaceful assembly of young Nigerians, virtually young Nigerians, you understand, seeking for a change in the establishment. And when then you see that the reaction they were actually putting at was what happened in 1965 when Professor Soyinka, then 31, stormed a television and a radio station and swapped the announcement to be made with a gun holding up the station. You understand? And they were not saying if Soyinka who did this would actually call just an angry youth, you understand, or some angry youth now, they now call them fascists. They are not saying what more could be more fascist than that action of 1965. And I think even subsequently in the 70s and the 80s, when this Soyinka was calling for arms, he was saying people should, in fact, he wanted to volunteer to go defend humanity in South Africa. So I think that coinage, you understand, or let me say that concept of fascism is something he himself has to actually explain the way he understands. He even doubled down by putting out an article saying incipient fascism, or saying fascism on the rise. So, and I have read all these things. And as someone who is familiar with government, when I talk about totalitarianism, authoritarianism, democracy, in fact, all the isms, I do not know where fascism, you understand, because it was first introduced in Italy in the 1920s under Benito Mussolini, Duce. I do not know where it comes into the picture.
All right, Council, the comrade said in the first place he's not agreeing with the statement of that
unless the court makes a pronouncement.
Yes, until the court makes a pronouncement. But these are people that are just coming out from the election.
Yes.
And by whatever means, they are too sure they won the election. And they only saying, and from every other commentaries, that thing is saying, the court should do nothing. At least the court, the judge, the chief judge, should ensure that these things are looked at before talking about swearing in. So, Council, what's your take on that?
Well, let me say that it would seem the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dati, maybe didn't advert his mind to the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution has spelled out the way to go. Inauguration or not does not affect what is happening in the court, in the tribunal, as far as election petition is concerned. This has its own route to run, while the person who has been inaugurated continues. At the end of the day, do not forget that the proceedings commenced before the person would be inaugurated. So the way the Constitution has looked at it and put it in place is this. Whenever the judicial process runs the whole hog, and for purposes of this one, we want to assume that it will get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will now make a pronouncement one way or the other. Assuming, for purposes of lecturing us on what we are discussing now, Tinubu is inaugurated as president, which, in all honesty, I don't see much stopping it, except God. Otherwise, giving things their natural way to go, he will be inaugurated come May 29th. But thereafter, if the Supreme Court now makes a pronouncement that his election ab initio was faulty, and for example, now declares that Peter Obi, who came third, is the winner, and nobody seems to be adverting his mind to this one, that the person who came second, being Atiku Abubakar, and that is in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act, should now step in. That is the end of the matter. From that day, whosoever the Supreme Court has pronounced will take over the reins of power. The person will be inaugurated for a term, fresh 4 years, commencing from the date of inauguration. It played out with Itobi for the first time in Anambra State, then as governor. It played out with Emeka Ihedioha and Hope Uzodimma.
Even Oshomole.
Yes, and Oshomole. If there's also another one, there are up to how many of them? Now that yes,
in the State.
Even the Adeleke, yes, the term he's enjoying now. So, what point are we trying to make? It's not for somebody to begin to imagine or believe that once this man is inaugurated, all hope is lost. You can no longer remove. No. That's not the correct position of the law. The correct position of the law is the one I have stated. I agree that because we live in a unique place, to borrow your language, wonderful, you know, it's a very wonderful place. I mean, Nigeria, where might is right and has constantly been demonstrated, it becomes a bit difficult for the judiciary. They've demonstrated it to summon the will to oust a sitting person. No, I wouldn't say president, a sitting person. It becomes a little difficult. But come to look at the statement credited to that everybody seems to be shouting about. Vice President Osibanjo made similar comments that they were going to form a parallel government if they were not, if they were not even declared winner. Yes, that they were going to, go into a parallel government. At that point in time, our good friend and father, who we revere like a deity, that's Professor Wole Soyinka, was alive. He was on the scene. He was in the picture. He didn't call for the crucifixion of Sibanjo, and I wouldn't know exactly why he didn't do so. Even the things that the present administration has been guilty of from day one, May 29th, 2015, up till now. Goodluck Jonathan's administration didn't do nearly as much, didn't even do up to 1/10. Before Prof led people and called him out, physically moved on the road, to protest.
To demonstrate at the age of 78.
He wrote articles, he addressed the world, he spoke on at least about 2 different occasions. He talked when the issue of the Chibok girls happened. He raised all hell when fuel price they wanted to increase it to to about 90, was it 87 or 97 naira in those days. But today I don't know if Prof is aware that we in Aba, for example, we buy petrol at, now it has come down, that we buy petrol at 250 naira a liter. I don't know if Prof is aware.
That's the cheapest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
the cheapest price.
I don't know.
And I think if you look at these documents, Showore launched a campaign called Revolution Now to end the government of Muhammad Buhari. This was more than any physical. In fact, he mobilized and he was arrested.
Gave date?
Soyinka, yes. He
even gave date on the day it was supposed to take place.
He even gave date. Soyinka wrote an article. He urged the president, rain your white dogs. That's you were talking about the DSS. But it's unfortunate that he seems to be losing his voice. And this is a man who has been speaking. You understand? Every time there is a breakdown of law and order image that Wole Soyinka will speak. But unfortunately, he's lost his voice. You understand? In the areas where we have been actually, and let me even say this, his silence in the aftermath of the election, there were far other horrible things. If he was looking for area to live in, make intellectual. There were issues of irredentism. There were issues of ethnic profiling. In fact, Rwanda just celebrated 29th anniversary of the genocide in 1994. So Wole Soyinka did not address all those ones. He now tried to launch into the landscape, into the political landscape, the concept of fascism, which I don't see anywhere reflected.
All right, Council.
I had to go to read Labour Party's manifesto, people read speeches, and I found nothing.
Yeah, Council. According to Wole Soyinka, he said, I have never heard anyone threaten the judiciary the way I heard that speaking. He also said that blackmailing attitude, do or die provocation is not what we are struggling for. That is what he said. And the statement that he made, is in any way a threat to the judiciary?
That he was trying to enjoy his right to freedom of expression. I know that he went far, no doubt, in suggesting that an interim government could be formed, or that they were not going to take this or take that. And I know he was angry. However, that is not sufficient to threaten the judiciary. People have said far worse. People at different points in time have said far worse. Almost all the political gladiators of repute and high standing in Nigeria have said worse, and nobody took it as anything. I wonder why that of Dati is being blown out of proportion. At best, I had expected that it would have been regarded as maybe statements coming from somebody who naturally is unhappy. We refer to such people as aggrieved persons. Now, Dati and Obi are trying to assume office based on the provisions of the supreme law of the land called the Constitution. And pursuant to that Constitution, the Electoral Act was inaugurated to assist, to midwife the process. That is what they are standing upon to seek office, to seek to enter. And the same Constitution has also stipulated what happens where things go the way you didn't envisage. And yet, he is trying not to keep faith with the Constitution. So my advice ordinarily to him would have been, look, you've commenced according to law. Go according to law and end according to law. I am a lawyer. That is always the best advice I will give to any person who is aggrieved, to go according to the provisions of the law.
All right, comrade. And Wole Soyinka also saying that Dati's attitude is blackmailing. What's your take on that?
That's what I've done.
Yes,
to do that from the legal perspective. But I want to say this, you see, we all, I say, there is that saying, he who must come to equity must come with evidence, because equity sees has done that which is supposed to be done. Equity doesn't say go and do. Equity assumes that it has been done, that justice has been done. Understand? Now, in this same country, when we had a nation of independence, into the national government, then later Abacha came. Wole Soyinka was the first performance. Understand? If at a point Abacha declared, passed a death sentence in ascension, he had to be smuggled out of the country through the same border, and he was blown abroad. There they ran the coup d'etat. They operated the media, as known as the coup d'etat, and there were a lot of things he did as a medical person to challenge the status quo. You understand? And then he represented a time when Nigerians came together to speak. Now, if you look at the Obidian movement, there were fallouts that led to that movement. One was the NSAS. The people, some of these persons you see, it's not about cyber-stalking, it's not about cyber-bullying. Some of these persons are angry. They were participants in that protest, and they saw how the Nigerian state cruelly
crushed
her citizens. And I will say this, you see, if at all we are looking for fascism, which I say here means
totalitarianism,
government, that is where you have to find it. Not in the movement of people who are unarmed, whose principle has even come out to say, your peace, you understand? Don't worry. We are fighting it legally. You understand? So if we are to even begin to look at the tweets, the statements coming from the camp of Tinubu and the rest, we will even hold Soyinka more accountable, because people like Bayo meant laden with corrosive content, hateful content, to the extent that they could tear apart the fabrics of unity in this nation. We didn't hear from him. So I had expected him, since we are talking about making this thing academic, talk about the concept of irredentism. Did it happen in this election? Talk about the concept of ethnic profiling. Did it happen in this election? You don't just talk about issues and being selective. I even listened to when he said that the whole interview was actually cut and then didn't play out everything. But this is my personal opinion. Soyinka has affinity with Tinubu from the days of medical. I have seen him on tape. I have seen him on the clip talking about how Tinubu was actually bringing money and helping them in the days of their exile, when they became political exiles. Now listen, he has not been forthright to condemn some of these things. Tinubu said political power is not served a la carte. It is not served in a restaurant. It must be grabbed. That is to steal it and run away with it. He didn't say anything. I'm particular about it because he's my idol. You understand? And I began here by saying he's a man whose literary shoestrings I can't even untie. I hold him in that. In fact, I have that regard for him. And even this outburst has not even diminished that. But we have to set the record straight. We cannot prefer or preserve reverence or respect for the sake of at the expense of objectivity.
All right. Council, before we go on a very short break, and Wole Soyinka has also alleged that Dati not just about threatening the court, but insisting that it must go his own way, his personal interpretation, that he's trying to dictate, to the supreme arbiter of the nation.
Like I said earlier, I'll reiterate, there is virtually nothing that Dati said during that interview that other people have not said worse. Can you compare it with what the governor of Kaduna State has been doing, and what has anybody?
Foreign observers in body bags.
What has anybody said about it?
And
there's also you call FFK.
What is even threat to the judiciary? What is more threatening to the judiciary, or what is more of a threat to the judiciary than the fact that a president actually sacked the Chief Justice of the Nation without following due process?
Or that the homes of judges were invaded
at night
on mere allegations. They said we already have evidence. They stormed, they broke into, they entered, packed away and carted away private things. At the end of the day, none of those judges was prosecuted. And no apology has been rendered to the judges by this administration. So it's not important, the statements credited to that. If we want to do it properly, let's go back to the Bible. He who has not committed not just any sin, this particular one you are accusing that of, if APC is innocent of the things they are saying that he has said, I am not exonerating that he has to answer.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. But before you start crucifying him, you must be without blemish yourself along that same line.
All right, wonderful viewers, this is the march. For now, we're going to go on a very short break. And when we come back, the issues of the moment will continue. Don't go away. Keep watching Living TV. We'll be right back.
heard that Living Television, the latest satellite station on SatView channel, is received all over Nigeria and Africa? You can watch Living Television on every free-to-air HD decoder, including Strong HD and CSAT HD. Why keep paying for monthly subscriptions when you can have fun for free? With Living Television, you can watch lots of wrestling, football, documentaries, and Nigerian films, including discussions and debates on current Nigeria issues. Watch free live matches on La Liga Spain cum Serie A, Italy cum Bundesliga, German League One, and French matches on over 80 premium channels. Wow! You can also sponsor your programs such as live church services and crusades, political rallies, burial and wedding ceremonies, promotional interviews, announcements, advertisements, documentaries, and commercials. We are situated at number 1 Jeji Street off Ikorebane Road, Aba, Abia State. For further enquiries, call 0805 367 3900. Signed, Management.
I love you.
I can say in pidgin English, Living TV, Unade Kampe.
Living TV, bringing the word.
To go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die.
While on break, shortly before the introduction, I also want to let you know that I will Emeka Ihedru, Honorable Emeka Ihedru, as a one-time legislator in the Aba North on the formation of democracy here in Nigeria. Honorable, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Happy Easter.
Statement credited to Wole Soyinka and the obedience are not happy with such statements, just like you've been listening to. Analysts have said there are so many things, so nobody is too happy with what happened. But then the reaction of Wole Soyinka is what they are equally looking at. And moving forward, it is also important to know that the obedience are equally not happy with Wole Soyinka. In reacting to this, supporters of the Labour Party, popularly known as the Obedience, faulted the statement on Dati while recounting how he, Professor Wole Soyinka, started the infamous cultism in Nigeria. Let me start with you, counsel, of this. How we started the infamous cultism, and if we know about the pirates, it was seen as the most peaceful before other ones like the Buccaneers and so many others that came in. And then, is it providence should also point to this?
Well, it's always been known that prior to now, Professor Wole Soyinka, especially in his much younger days, has always stood out against what is not right and give it to him. Many people have studied his works, read it. At a point, we even had to read for purposes of WAEC in those days, Trials of Brother Jero. And there are so many of his books out there, Lion and the Jewel, and so on and so
We must search for the door.
Yes, the Death and the King's Horseman.
Death and the King's Horseman.
So many of them. I mean, for you to be, and these were books that inspired young Nigerians, male and female alike. If you know the history of that organization, or recall its history, which of course is certainly not shrouded in secrecy, it's there in the open. When things were not going on well at the University of Ibadan, he rallied together his friends and rallied students together, and they stood up against what was then not right. Coincidentally, some of those things they fought against then are still militating against the attainment of a just society in Nigeria today. And so it becomes unfair to refer to them as cultists. No, that is going extreme level. What they did is historic, and I know that the obedience are also not happy. Let me also clarify that you said something about supporters of the Labour Party are referred to as obedient. That is not true. Supporters of Peter Obi are referred to as obedience, not Labour parties. You find them across all the political divides because this is a consensus. Things are not going on well in this nation. It has nothing to do with religion. There are Muslims in the obedient family, there are Christians, and there are those that don't believe in anything, including the traditionalists. You have Igbos, Yorubas, Hausas, and so on and so forth. Then again, let me also clarify that obedient movement is not about young people. No, I agree that I concede that most of the members fall into most of the visibly active members because they have youth driving impetus of age is on their part. Yes, they exercise it and they really feel strongly about what they believe in. So when they are doing what they are doing, it's because everybody, we all want a better society. We have not gotten
and the petition fight, and then it resulted to all sorts of statements. So as we speak right now, and I'm sure you've heard what Wole Soyinka said. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, what he said is out there in the public domain. I think they are. It's very unfortunate that people of his respect, should be making this kind of statements when Nigerians expected him to talk. When there was carnage, when there was this ethnic profile, when it appeared as if a certain tribe, or even the whole Nigerians were against a particular tribe, he didn't say anything, and now he's just reacting to what Daddy said. Daddy is a wounded lion. He's reacting like
he feels pain. So
yes,
I said he was aggrieved, so you don't expect him to be
reacting like a wounded lion would. You understand? In his circumstance. But the thing now, let me also point out something. I walked into this way earlier on before I got on stage. So I heard what my colleagues, here were saying, and I also heard the questions you threw to them. But let me also put this. These people, they remember if you watch some of the video clips, of Tinubu during the electioneering campaign, he said that he is smarter. You understand that? And he's still playing that his smart game. He is trying to work on the psyche, on the mentality, on the sentiment, the judiciary to be smarter than them. You understand? One thing I want to let them know, nobody Wole Soyinka has said that this man is trying to intimidate the judiciary and all that. They are blackmail the judiciary. Just like the way they intimidated, and he now succumbed to their destiny.
Does not necessarily mean that the judiciary must decide
Yes.
in a particular manner.
Yes.
If you do not give it to this man, then you have not done justice. That is not right. You see, when the law has created a right, it also creates a way for you to access the right. You can liken that right to something like a plate of food kept on a particular table, and then a road, a path, a channel has been created, and there are others crisscrossing. You must follow the right one to get to that. If you do not, for example, use the right route, you might find that you are still looking at the food, and after going and going and going, somehow you now suddenly find yourself outside, and it could be said that your matter has either been struck out or been dismissed. So it's not that if you don't get it, if the court does not say this, then the court is compromised. No, that is certainly being most unfair to the judiciary. When a matter is presented in court, there are several issues that arise for determination. Questions, those are the issues. And you say, is this one this? Is this one this? Those are the issues you try. That is one. Secondly, the Electoral Act has provided grounds on which you can question an election, declaration or return of somebody. If, for example, you go to court, you go to the tribunal to challenge somebody's election or return or declaration, and you do not predicate your claim or case on any of the grounds stated by the law, no matter how sweet, how nice, how embellished and tantalizing your case may be to the eyes of the layman, to the public, who constitutes the majority, vociferous majority, it will not affect the substance or merit of the case.
Yeah, counsel.
There will be no evidence before the judge.
Sorry, let me follow the analogy you just gave now.
Remember, I'm speaking generally.
Yes, but you're in speaking generally, you're also being a lawyer.
Of course I am.
Yes, you're also being a lawyer. But let me also tell you, it now depends on who is, who has dished this food and who he really wants to get it. Take, for example, this food now could be on the table, and there are one or two persons that are supposed to, have the meal. If he does not
want you to, from what counsel said concerning,
I will